Cool. Done. Clean up a little bit. Get these. I ended up using just a exposed blade. Seemed like the easiest way to go about it. So now we're going to put it onto the wood. This was the upside. So one thing I was kind of alluding to earlier with these extra dust covers is that when we took this off, these were down in here, and this is all cut out enough to where it basically becomes a guide for that to live in there. So I'm wondering if I could just do them both. Maybe I can, I don't know. I wasn't super keen on the colors on the top. I always kind of like to have black dust covers, but if I throw these down in here and then we can still use these, because it seemed to me that it was quite dirty underneath here, even, you know, which is these at work. So I believe, yeah, so we still have our Midway manufacturing sticker. So it goes this way. So I guess we'll throw these down in here now while I hold this giant piece of metal. Maybe a little silly trying to get the stick through that later, but whatever. But I wasn't too excited about reusing those down in there, but here we go. Right. Look at that. Look at that. So now, I don't remember which ones of these had bolts on it last time. These are the hooks for the clamps to hold the whole thing shut. Those 2 bolts there, and then we had like 2 bolts elsewhere here. I'll check the video for that. I'm not going to worry about those right now. We're going to actually put the plexi on before we get any farther. There they go. Look at that. They just come right out of there. I don't like those at all. Here. If we take this off and then we put those back in, and then we put the plexi cover on, then they won't fly out again. Let's try again. Here, set this over here. Oh, don't scratch the Neo. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyways, try again. Okay. So the reason I have this awl out here is because I was thinking I would punch holes through here so I can get an awl is a great tool. You can actually feel the hole. Look, it just makes a hole. It's really, really good at just making a hole. Everyone should have an awl. There's a hole right there. There's supposed to be one right there. There's one right there. The tool made specifically to make holes. Where's my hole? You can feel it. Really don't want to make a bunch of extra holes in here because then you'll totally see them. Do it right the first time. I guess I could have done this from the back too. I really don't want to take this thing off again. It's right there. There it is. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There's one in here. It's right there. See, it just makes a hole. That's all an awl is for. I mean, I guess you could use it for other stuff, but that's all I use it for. There seems to be far less hardware down the top here. Okay. All right, what happened to my thing here? Here it is. Up. Okay, this is the fun part where we get to peel off all this stuff. I'm gonna get a, I got my leftovers. I'm gonna get my paintbrush, my duster, one more time on this thing. I know it's clean before I put this plexi on here. Okay, so this is what we're gonna use next. This is Security Torx bit. I don't know if you can tell that I'm like super excited about this, but I am super excited. So we're just going to peel off the back first. That's the part we're putting down right now. Yeah, this only has two holes across the top for screws. Okay, I'm going to try not to touch that too much, get my dirty fingerprints in underneath there. Is that pencil? It's pencil. Okay. Those work in theory. I haven't even tried them yet. So the only difference with the Security Torx is that it has a little pin, down the middle of it, where it makes it really hard to use a regular Torx on it. Got a little bunch of junk underneath there. Anyways, okay. Well, those work. Nice and shiny. So we basically can't go wrong at this point. Like, there's no way that any of this doesn't work at this point. The sticker, whatever you want to call it, is the hardest part. And don't crank those down too much. I've done this before where I cracked that plexiglass thing. I used to have a Neo Geo Goldie. I got all excited because I got a brand new Goldie control panel overlay, and it was back printed, onto the plexi. So there was no sticker like this. And I cranked down the last bolt too tight, and I cracked the plexi right off the bat. And I was like, are you kidding me? There you go. Big day. What a big day. What a bunch of work we did to make this perfect. You see that that's perfect? I mean, looks perfect to me. Good thing I did a good job for the first video series here. Didn't like put together some janky looking situation and be like, here's how you do it. I'm sure people have opinions about how I'm doing things, but the result is the same. Look at this screw. That really wants to go in kind of kind of crooked. See if we can help it go in straighter. It really just wants to go in crooked. Let's see what it does going in crooked. Yeah, that's crooked. We'll deal with that later. I'll get the drill out. I don't want to have a crooked bolt going into my machine here. So well, not the only thing left, but after this we'll do another video on T-molding, because it's like a thing. It's not hard, like I keep saying, but it's kind of a thing. Like how you turn corners with T-molding, in corners and outer corners, two different types of cuts. What I did notice on this one when I peeled off all the T-molding is there weren't any of those cuts, like from the factory. So I'm thinking that maybe it's not absolutely necessary to turn the corner with cuts, but I usually do that. I bought like 80 feet of T-molding for this project so that I could make mistakes and stuff. So, all right, they're in. I didn't crack it. There you go. Okay, we'll do the buttons and the sticks next. All right, so I'm just going to show one of these and then we'll speed this up. But this this little E-clip, you can usually just get the screwdriver on it, and you can basically push it with the screwdriver, and then you can pull it the rest of the way with this guy if you want to, but basically get it the whole way with the screwdriver. So once you get that out of there, this whole thing kind of just falls apart. So this is the collar to make it actually touch. It doesn't touch unless it's got that in there. And then you just pull the stick out. These IL joysticks are so nice. Take the dust cover off, and there's this other little collar in there that can totally come out, but it's not a very complicated thing. It's really nice and straightforward. So that's one. 4 or 5 pieces, that's it. So and then these obviously you don't have the switches in, or they won't fit through here. These come in from the top. Some of this might be obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways. They just drop in from the top. That's it. So here we go. Now we're really starting to see the end state here, fruits of our labors. I'm annoyed that this screw didn't work, but anyways, look at how nice that looks. We're back in business. We have buttons. Pretty sure these are correct. So I'm just going to show you one of these. So you would go, this goes on first. This goes through here. Sure. Why don't we do this one down here? This goes on first. Guide it through our secondary dust cover, I guess, that we're going to use. And then we put on, whoops, I forgot I didn't grab any of my screws. We'll just, okay, so this, you probably can't see it, but put the little collar on here. Let me see what you can see. What can you see? Yeah, okay. So when you put the collar on, that's what kind of makes it so you can actually like push back the spring loading of the stick, and then you put this E-clip on here, and I find that if you can just kind of grab the edge of the actual stick and the E-clip at the same time to crimp it on there, and that's that. So it'll find my bolts, and then we'll do that. Hold on. All right, there you go. Brand new. So, like I said before, this is how this works. This is right. Kind of counterintuitive, but we're able to retain our manufacturer sticker. We got all our new buttons on here. We used all of our original fasteners for the controls, but I appear to have lost one. And all my baggies and stuff here. I don't know where it is. Anyways, find it later. So the only thing left to do here is the T-molding, and then we'll put the bracket clamp, the clamp brackets on here. I'm not going to do that right now. It's really very straightforward, but anyways, there you go. Brand new control panel.